Tony Ortiz once again back with This Week in Brave Exvius for November 2nd, 2022. Big week this week, and it's a lot of other stuff that, news and stuff like that that we weren't expecting from yesterday. But let's just run right through it real quick here. I don't have as much time tonight as I normally would to record, which is why we're going a little earlier. And hopefully I'll be able to get this posted from my phone. I don't know if it's gonna work, but if not, sorry for the episode not coming out until Thursday. It happened last week, is why I kind of forgot. I uploaded it and then forgot to turn it public and add all the notes. So I'll try to do that for you this week as well. So let's just talk about some of the news that's carried over from last week first before we get into the units. We had the fragment issue. So the Gumi listened to some feedback and they put the fragments for Sylvie and Wilk in the pool for all of your tickets. This isn't really particularly great for Wilk because who cares, but it's really great for Sylvie, arguably the best unit in the game. So if you want 100 free frags for your Sylvie, if she's not already X3, you can go in. Premiums have not been adjusted, and it's one of those things where you kind of you kind of just can't. Once you've debacled this thing and then put it into the game, somebody might buy it right away and then have this massive complaint. If you switch it later to benefit everyone else, you kind of have to let things rock and then maybe compensate everyone after the fact for what happens. It's kind of the way it goes, right? So I would still say that do not spend any of your tickets on premiums whatsoever. It's just not cost effective. Remember that you can take premiums into the fragment dungeon, and you can actually get those guys the same amount of fragments as you would any other unit. So you really want to maximize how much you get out of this. You want to get some of these units to EX3. Maybe there's a premium you want the card for, and you really just don't want to wait. And if you have nothing else, okay. But I mean, you're always going to be pulling more regular units, and you'll pull some premiums off banner as well. So make sure you just try to hold off as long as you can if you're not sure what to spend on. You do have quite a while for those tickets to expire, so just hang on to them. You don't have to use them until the very last day before the shop goes away. So you have a while. I think it's till the end of this month, something like that, maybe longer. You can go into the shop and see when it expires on your own time. Okay, then let's talk about some of the units. So, oops, that's not how we're gonna see them because I did not pull. I did pull for Lilith on my alt account, so I messed around with her a bit firsthand. I probably got more hands-on stuff with her than I did with Sakiko, only using friend units and stuff. But yeah, she's fairly decent. I would call her above average. The average banner being a skip banner. I think that she is definitely worth pulling for if you need a couple of the key things she does, like Dark Imbue. If you absolutely need a tag chainer tank, like if you don't have, even then, I'm not sure if she's worth it. Well, basically, if there's a fight where you'd rather use her to tag chain because you want to bring a bunch of finishes or you want to bring a finish and a bunch of supports, she theoretically would be better than Runda. But Runda has triple bolting strike to chain with, so it's very rare that the tag chaining thing even comes up as a huge advantage. It's just weird. Her kit is weird and inefficient. That's the problem, right? So, if you can get content in the game where she's going to become really good later, it's worth pulling, but that's a huge hedge, right? You're just betting on it. They're going to make a bunch of content where Runda's going to get outclassed by her, and that's kind of rough, especially for a time limited unit. You want time limited units to be ridiculous because that way they're worth pulling for. But then also sometimes you don't want them to be very ridiculous because then if somebody misses it or can't afford to pull on it or whatever, then you alienate. It's a double-edged sword, right? So CoW being the most probably recently prevalent example of units that aren't in the regular pool and just absolutely necessary to make some of the content pretty fairly straightforward and easy. So yeah, if we had to pick, I think that they should do things this way. And that's at least with time limited units. I don't want time limited units to discourage people from playing the game. Oh, shit, I missed that. There's no point in playing for a year. I don't want that to happen. So even though I'm not going to pull for Lily, and even though I'm not going to pull for the card, I do think that this is a decent banner. And if you if you think that Runda's not good enough for you, or you just really, really need a dark imbue because you think there's going to be a lot of dark content coming up, which there probably will be considering all the dark units that are coming, Sephiroth buffs that are coming, and so on, then I think it's definitely worth a shot for the card. If you don't have Ject as well, if you don't have the premium Ject, if you want to go for the card for the 22,000, that'll give you a bunch of shots to get Lilith without having to do anything else. And then you can pull 2 more laps to get your pity if you really want to make sure you get one, if you know, or you get a second copy or whatever. You can get up to 100 of her fragments as well in the shop, which is more than usual. Normally you can only get 50. So there's gonna be a lot of easier ways to upgrade her, and you definitely want this card because this card is just infinitely better than her own card. Her own card is garbage. This card is pretty good. It's not necessary though. That's the one thing about defensive cards, like especially if you have other cards that kind of do what they're gonna do. Like I have Jack that's like he's like 10 frags away from EX3, so like I'm gonna get a card that can be used by any unit that's better, that's as good as this or better. If this card had some kind of crazy morale generation ability that like we didn't already have access to, it would probably be worth it. But there's 3 or 4 cards, Cool Smile, Wilkes, Sylvie's, that do this, and we just don't really need that either. So I think that if you have a newer account and you have 22K that you can afford to spend, or you'll at least have 60 to 120K ready for next month, go ahead and pull on this. But make sure you do the card first and do the steps afterwards, because you might always to get one want to stop. Remember, you can take her to EX1 for free, and then you can get another 50. So if you get 2 copies, you got EX2 if you have VIP coins. You don't have to keep wasting lapis. And if you were to pull, if you don't need this card but you want the unit, if you were to go to her normal banner, unfortunately for the way that's priced out, there's actually really not much savings. I think you save like 1,000 lapis is all you save for pulling without the card. So you'd think that they would give you a huge discount on her if you didn't want the card, but it doesn't make sense. I will probably continue to throw tickets at this until the week's over. All my lapis is saved. I want to keep a minimum of 120 for near, just in case there's 2 premiums, like Xenogears. And it looks like some of the news that we got yesterday on the 1st that the elements are perfectly lined up for the collab to be on Clash of Wills week. So look out for that, guys. Save your lapis. I would bet on Runda and not on Lilith, the same way I'm going to bet on Nier and not on Sakiko, and evoke damage getting locked out of the game. So another kind of note from this Clash of Wills that just came out as well from this last week here, that whole theory about Sakiko running this shit Earth didn't actually work out, because there's so much resistance on the non-elements that the boss is weak to, that even the old damage projections are not good enough. So Sakiko has to use light and only light on this fight. She's still really good for it because she's a new unit, but this whole idea that they might let you force evokers through elemental weaknesses, and remember I said I don't think they're going to do that. They're going to put a mechanic in that's going to stop it, or they're just going to they're going to give them 1,000 resist to that element, 999 resist to that element, and you won't be able to push it. And that's exactly what they did. So here you go. This is the first one where Sakiko is questionable, right? You can definitely use her, she's really good, but let's see on the next one how much play she gets, how many teams she's in. What's up, John? How's it going? Sorry I'm rushing through this, but I gotta get going tonight. I only got a few minutes, so we're just running through everything right now. All right, so then we talked a little bit about Clash of Wills already, but it's an interesting Clash of Wills. I've been having some struggles with it. Again, without Lilith and without Sakiko, it's a little bit more difficult than you would expect. This one is really tough. The only thing is it has a huge weakness, and that weakness is that you can just literally kill it by raising it. And Gumi's already acknowledged this, and they've said, hey, we're not going to fix it because, a bunch of people have already ranked 1 off of it, and we don't want to make it to where other people can't do that. It would be unfair, which is probably one of the most reasonable decisions they've made since Anniversary. Everything since Anniversary has pretty much been a fumble. This is the only thing that hasn't been. So you definitely don't want to just come in and cast, Revive right away. But what you can do, make all your people charm immune at the beginning so that you don't get charmed in whatever form you want. And then you can actually go ahead and, let me go the other way here. You can just chain with any units and you'll be able to cast a revive during the chain, and that will hit the boss's HP lock factor. If you cast revive on the boss without HP lock, it'll just kill him. So be wary of that. Here, let me just do a quick water imbue real fast too, and then flood them. And then I'm just going to kind of quickly show you what it looks like. I'm just going to quickly show you what it looks like for those of you who haven't seen this. What's up, Rick? How's it going, man? So basically what you want to do is you just want to line up a chain. And here, we'll even throw in Chizuru in here. Throw your chain and then throw your revive right afterwards. This automatically hits him down. You can even see it like sort of tick to 0 and then back to 49 because of the HP lock there. If you just straight revive him, he'll die. But if you revive him this way, he won't. And then from here, you can go ahead and set up your all the rank 1 stuff. So you can set up your damage. You can set up your chaining. And if you need some extra help, if you have anything that reduces his buffs, you want to throw that as well. It's like Kaito has an ability that actually takes turns off his buffs. So his buffs will come off a little bit earlier, this one right here. So this will take 3 turns off of his buffs. This will take his buffs off at turn 5, I believe. So go to turn 8, right? Yeah, so this will take his buffs off on turn 5. And then you can actually set that up really nicely to be your DPS turn. You can, as long as you cap here, you're good. And then you can go ahead, and even if you don't kill him with your cap, you can, which you should kill him with your cap, actually, I think. I think it's higher than 2.5. It's 2.5 something, or is it 3.0, 2.8? I don't know what it is. All I know is I did 2.5 earlier, and I didn't cap it, so I'm going to have to keep working on this. It's 2.6? Okay, thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. Yeah, so if you do your 2.6, and, he's still at 1% or 2% or whatever, on the next turn, you can just do exactly what we just did and cast Raise on him again and just click on him, and then he will die. Boom. This is also the best way to farm your results. So, I mean, there's no point even making a farming team or even talking about it, because you just come in and just single cast Revive on him. You can get or Raise, I should say. You can get Raise on the Phoenix Esper and hand it to literally anyone as well. That's why I have Sylvie casting it. So, this is a pretty easy one to farm. It's going to be still a little bit difficult to rank 1. You're still going to want certain units to be able to do that. But, this one is a pretty good one for everybody to get some fairly good rewards on it. I think you'll be able to get into the top 2,000 pretty easily, even if you can't rank 1 it. So, make sure you go do that and get your Xenostone. And then we're just going to take a quick look at the news here before we get out of here. Getting to morale is hard. If you have Sylvie, what I was doing with Sylvie is Vine's Petals, and then the other skill that raises morale. And then Chizuru's buffs raise morale, so if you have those two, definitely use those two. And then, if you have the basic Rod of Empress, you start the fight with that. And then you have all 3 morale gaining pieces of armor and both rings, you should be able to get to 200% on turn 5 no matter what. As long as you do 2 turns of Sylvie doing her thing and you use Chizuru's buffs. If you have the better Rod, I think you get there for sure. Like, there's no even doubt about it. But also, as long as you just do some damage as well and in the turns while you're building up your buffs, you should be able to get there. I was able to get there quite easily, and I don't even have the maximum level of the new armor. I'm like 400 Xenostone short. So, okay. And then lastly, we're just going to take a look at the news here real quick. We normally don't take a look at the news. We leave that for the other people. But when we have the first of the month go by, I like to take a look at the news because we get to see, like the new Clash information. So usually when we get it, where is it? This one? No. Where's the monthly? Where's the monthly news? Monthly news. Monthly news. There it is. Bulletin. I always forget what it's called. So DV, or sorry, we're gonna get the DV brief now instead of the what do you call it? Up here on the top, and then the Clash of Wills brought on the bottom. So DV, this is just giving you the EX bosses, Fire and Ice Magic. This one is not difficult because there's a ton of ice and a ton of fire. It is magic. You have to bring mages, but you know, uh, there's a ton of them. You should be okay on this one. Earth and Dark means this is pretty much free, Sylvie, and also if you have Lilith as well. And then, or what do you call it? What's his name? You should be able to do this with Graf, with his Earth damage actually, but he's also imbuable, so you can kind of do it either way. Fire. Yeah, there's a bunch of Fire and Ice mages out there. This shouldn't be too difficult. Ice mages, you got Rydia, Medina, and I think I'll have to go look at Fravia again, but yeah, I don't know if she's magic. I think she's physical. That's okay though. You'll be fine. What's cool though is that we have fire, water, and light on the EX2, which means you can finally use your COG on a EX boss in a DV. And then the water tracks because we had 2 water premium units not too long ago. And fire is going to be cool because that means you'll be able to bring your Vaughn, your 160% in peril, and all that. So this should be pretty easy. This should be very casual DV. The Fire and Ice Magic one is probably going to be the toughest one for people. But there are a lot of Fire and Ice mages. It's not as bad as it seems. It'd probably be a lot easier if some of the premium units could get in on this, like with Dark. But it'll be okay. And then lastly, we've got our strat, and this is what's exciting. So we have a Machina and Human. We have weak to lightning, wind, and light, which basically says to me near. So like this is crazy. I did not think they were going to put near as the actual morale stuff. It makes sense to though, because if this is a collab that JP's never going to get and we're going to get exclusively, then why not bundle it in with Clash of Wills? That's the content we only get here on the global server. So it just makes perfect sense. The only thing is now, what can we discern from this? I mean, we're definitely going to have an NV unit for sure, right? We're probably going to have an NV A of some kind that's awakened from a 5-star base unit. I'd imagine they're going to do that so that way they can give you that unit at a 5-star base for free and let you, get those fragments as you pull and all that. Now the question is, are we going to have a second NV base unit, or is it only going to be 1-1? I think the 1-1 is a lock, but I think it might be 2-1. And then the other question on that is, are they going to be premium? We just had Titus Inject, but we haven't had a premium CoW unit since Esther, since Wilk. So 2 a year, I think, is where they should limit it. I think it's really rough if you go higher than that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did go premium because they just know that a lot of us are saving for this. I really hope they don't. I hope it's the standard 46 or whatever for both. And I hope we get 2, and then I hope we get an NBA. But this to me says near, so we kind of have a soft date on near, right? It's going to be, the probably the 24th of November is when we're going to have this stuff in our hands. Now, because, you got to assume DV will be 2 weeks, and then CoW will be the next week, and we'll be back into our rotation of 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and we'll always have one of those 2 things up. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got this week, guys. There's some more controversy to be had, of course. There always is, but pretty straightforward this week. And I've got a monthly event that I'm going to go to, so I got to get out of here. But yeah, we will be around on Sunday. I did pick myself up the Dark Knight Cecil. If you tuned in last Sunday, you would have saw that at the top of the stream. So that's here, and those guys are gonna rotate out. So Sunday we're definitely going to be doing some content. I don't know if it's going to be a ton of stuff on BE or not, because it's Clash, and I still do have to cap though. So maybe I'll try to do that live. But then after that, we may play some more Final Fantasy. We may play something else. But I will be back on Sunday. Things are kind of crazy right now. I'm in the middle of a lot of different stuff in my work. So maybe making some transitions and things like that. So probably no bonus streams from me. for at least another week or two. But definitely remember, at the end of this month, Warhammer Darktide is coming out. On the 30th, there will be a ton of bonus streams starting from them and all throughout the holiday season and even all throughout January. My birthday is the end of January, so like basically those full 2 months, it's just going to be nothing but Darktide on this channel outside of Wednesday. So if you're interested in Warhammer Darktide, I would definitely say join the Discord. Join my Discord. It's down below in the Twitch channels information. Just make sure to read the guides and all that. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, there'll be a link to the stream down below. So if you click on that, it'll take you to the channel page. The information will be down below. So make sure you guys take care of yourselves. Hope everybody had a fun holiday / hot party or whatever. And I will be back on Sunday. And we will definitely have some fun times on Sunday, guys. So keep it locked in, and we're gonna have a very interesting conversation next week. There will be some hot takes where we get a new collab that's coming in Chrono Cross a month before a collab which will probably be much, much better. So make sure you tune in next week, guys. Take care.